yet another episode of Conventionally Unconventional. Today we have Mr. Kapil Suhane with us. Kapil needs no introduction in the entrepreneurship space, especially in the green energy, but I would still ask Kapil to introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Partha. Thank you so much for that humble introduction. So, my name is Kapil. I graduated along with Partha ISM Dhanbad 2019 Petroleum Engineering. Post that, I was with Schlumberger. Uh, a year with Schlumberger, I was there, and post that, we mutually parted ways. I would love to say that. As prices were $0, they asked me to leave. I left. So that was how my and that's how I ended my petroleum journey. But it was good. Post that, I actually began my own startup into waste management space. This was a fairly enticing and interesting space to be in. Um, that's where I got this entrepreneurship bug, I believe. I guess it was prior to that as well, but it got more found up. And post that, I mean, 2 years, phenomenal learnings, stabilized it, and then went on to building Ace Green Recycling as, I'm more like look at business and investments at Ace and help the founding team with everything and anything they need. So very generalist kind of a role. Uh, I don't know if it fits in within the entrepreneurship backgrounds or not, but very generalist role. Maybe what do I say? How do I say that? I'm more like I do not know anything. I'm not the master of everything, but I know everything bit by bit, something, few things. Yeah. So that's pretty much me. Yeah.
I think after graduation, this is the first time we are meeting face to face. Okay, over
True, true,
Zoom, but
true, true.
there are so many things I want to ask you. But let's start from the very beginning. So,
Sure.
Schlumberger, the mutual parting ways of with Schlumberger. What what was going on in your mind after that? Were you scared? How was your
Ah,
the situation?
okay. Okay. So, very interesting. So Schlumberger, I joined October 2020, and I guess I was the happiest when I was placed at Schlumberger because it was a dream come true for me. Because I guess that is a company everybody dreams of while you are at petroleum engineering, while you're studying petroleum engineering, that too from ITI Chindanbad. So that's one thing you would always imagine that either you go to Shell, Schlumberger, or Exxon, something like that. And finally, I ended up there. I mean, I guess I don't know how did I end up because I was just a 7 pointer. I mean, all the people there, they were supremely sharp people, all above 8 point, 8.5ers. I was the least expected guy, somehow got in. I don't know how. Maybe it was because of my roommate who was Rajat, and he just helped me throughout 6 months. And maybe I just happened to knew petroleum engineering enough to get that interview done. That's it. And plus, my experiences helped a lot. I mean, I was general secretary of college. I was doing 100,000 things while at college. So right from, volunteering across the globe, meeting new people across, ISEC was there. I mean, a lot of different things. And then finally, student gymkhana, being with the uh, helping out the director there. Then he was the newest director there, helping out him with pretty much everything while he was just setting up his, I mean, this directorial adventure. So yeah, and I guess that helped a lot because Schlumberger was more like they always want people who are very extrovert, not extrovert, but selectively extrovert, I believe. At the same time, they know how to converse with people because, Schlumberger as an organization, if they look at an overall personality, not just the grades. not just the grades. Never. They would never just see your grades. They would rather take a brilliant guy who is great at handling pressure than just a nerdy petroleum engineer who just knows what is the core pressure. Maybe like that. But that's how Schlumberger is, and I guess all these petroleum companies, I believe Shell, Exxon, I mean, you need to show more than just petroleum. You just can't be there just because of your knowledge base, I believe. Uh, yeah. So that was Schlumberger. Mutual partying, yeah, I mean, see, right from my college second year, I was always doing things on my own. I was handling a lot of things, budgets. I mean, right from college cultural festival, but I was managing 2 odd CR budget completely, getting sponsors, sales. Sales was something. Sales was something I started loving a lot. I mean, I just loved sales. I don't know how. I was earlier loving music while I was in my first year, but eventually just fallen in love with sales because sales give you hard skills which are tough to teach. I mean, there would be 10,000 odd people who would say no to you before one yes comes in. And that's a skill that develops and gets sharpens over a period of time. It's not a one day skill that you just Google a course, enroll into it, and voila, you are a great sales guy. No, it doesn't happen. So that's how that's where I mean, while I was entering Schlumberger, I loved all Paris, going to Paris and everything. It was good, very hunky dory, very good actually. For a 21 odd year old, imagine coming from a middle class family, going just out of college, going to Paris for the first time, Europe, and that too completely paid. You're seeing the world. That's something. I mean, that's humbling as an experience because it's just that. I don't know how do I express, but for a 21, 22 odd year olds, it's a thing. It's a thing. Although now in hindsight, I don't think it's actually a thing. It's it's nothing. But yeah, for a 22 odd year, it was really a great thing. But first I joined Schlumberger, I didn't enjoy petroleum. And that was, I guess, I I always wanted to go to Schlumberger just because for the sake of it, because it had a brand. It was the highest paying company for petroleum. Money entices me. Yes, I went there. I didn't know that the actual work would be so boring. That I mean, you just need to see a few graphs and just create some reports and blah blah and blah other things. I didn't enjoy that. At the same time, I was also thinking to leave, but when the prices dropped, COVID hit, prices dropped. And actually, before just COVID hit, I was preparing for my school to Paris. 6th of May, I was just going, 26th of May 2020. But when COVID hit, everybody got locked out. And then a month into it, I mean, on from in April month, I was back home. In April month, $0. I mean, the prices were $0 for crude oil. Schlumberger can daily, day in and day out, I was hearing that okay, this Schlumberger Canada got shut. The person who I submitted a report yesterday got fired the next day. So a lot of things were happening. Global cost cutting, right? And then they offered me on 1st of May that since I was the most younger one, nothing to lose. Along with me, there were 20 odd people more who joined along with me. Yeah. So everybody, I mean, they were like my manager, who was also an ISMite, and his manager, who was also an ISMite, they told me, Kapil, we can give you 6, 7 months of salary, and we need to part ways. Okay, so that hitting, it was hitting hard. That okay, I was just let go, but at the same time. I didn't feel much of a remorse. I mean, maybe I was not feeling good just because I was just let go, but it was liberating in the sense that I do not need to understand petroleum anymore. It was very liberating in that sense. So yeah, I mean, it was worrisome for my parents especially because although they had businesses and everything, but they were very scared. So post that 2 months into that, I just absorbed everything, thought of doing multiple businesses, looked at multiple businesses, looked at father's business, a lot of things. Understood how does things happen the way they happen. And then I began this company called as Citygen Technology, along with another founder from ISM Dunbar 2016 batch, who was also running his own waste management thing. So with this startup, what we were trying to do was something similar to what I did in third year of my college with ISEC. ISEC is a global volunteering organization, by the way, for your viewers. So I was doing, I was actually doing a, an event for ISEC with all the waste pickers out there. I was interviewing everybody. I understood their deep pain points. And then at the same time, Dhanbad was also awarded the last position and the dirtiest city in India at the same time. So very horrifying. And then I thought that okay, waste management is something very crazy. PM Modi, who might be coming this time as well, he was also very focused upon Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and I just thought that maybe it will just all click because Modi ji is pro digitization, and he's also looking at waste management as a great asset, right? Uh, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Hence, I thought to develop basically digitize the entire solid waste supply chain. Basically, the door-to-door waste collection which happens at your house, at my house, at everybody's house. I was trying to develop a hardware integrated SaaS product which can actually do two to three things. A, track and trace the solid waste. It can incentivize people basis the wet and the dry waste. It can also track if your waste generated is wet waste, you have segregated the waste or not. And that was the hardware integrated SaaS product which we developed. Its IP is filed and now we are into licensing of it and everything. But yeah, back then that was the whole idea. So for in that 3 months went by just thinking about it, processing it, writing more and more notes about it. I mean, there was detailed product note on it, which was developed. I didn't know how to develop a product. I was learning on the job. And then we raised through grants, multiple grants. So we got around 40, 50 odd lakhs of grants. And then we worked with Asian Development Bank and the World Bank as well. So I was consulting Asian Development Bank I was consulting World Bank for their Gujarat Resilient Cities program, where because of our consultancy, World Bank actually inaugurated $3 billion of grants for the Gujarat government and also initiated three sewage treatment plants. With Asian Development Bank, we were the only ones in India who got selected for their technology innovation challenge for our hardware integrated SaaS product. And it was mind blowing for everybody out there across Asia. And but I mean, we were the only ones from India, and across the globe, only 5 people were selected. So yeah, it was great learning. But then we couldn't win that. Why? Because we had a very poor balance sheet. I mean, we were just 24, 25 odd year old. It was $500,000 grant, and 10% was the co-payment structure. We couldn't furnish 40 odd thousand dollars at that point. and that's why they just let us go. That at that point in time, because they definitely needed to show that okay, this is a credible organization and they can run it. But super experience. Post that, as you understand by now, that door-to-door waste collection in India is more like a B2G setup, where you work with the government, where you work with the municipal corporations a lot, right? So that's when again, I mean, we developed one of its kind of public-private partnership model with ICICI Bank, with the municipal corporation, where ICICI Bank was actually funding our products for the municipal corporation. So it eventually the business became a B2B business and not a government business. So so that was very interesting. I mean, we tried to find number of ways. So fun part about ICICI Bank was ICICI Bank banks in India, they need bank accounts, large bank accounts of governments because a lot of money is there. Hence, they and in order to give them their bank account, municipal corporation giving them their bank account, municipal corporations also ask them, what are you giving us in return? And we came as a service provider for that front. So they eventually they got the bank account, we got their money, and we delivered the government. That's how a public-private partnership model was created.
So
That was in jargon. So this is something we did. Post that, but it was primarily a B2G setup still, right? I mean, when it comes to first phase, it's fine, but the second phase of hardware deployments, it was a pain because it was government and cash flow issues are real there. I mean, your money can get stuck for 2 years, 1.5 years, 3 years, you don't just know. And that's a risk none of the VCs were willing to take. At the same time, when we didn't have enough money, because the grants, they come with their own lifetime values, right? They come in 6 8 months of from applying. You need money today in order to develop product, to showcase everything. But if you don't have money today, then how will you do that? So VC rejected us because waste management is an industry where none of the VCs want to invest. Why? Because it's a blacklisted community, because it's majorly run on cash. Secondly, it was a B2G business, although the plan was very large that it can become a B2B business altogether, but it will take some time. But an initial belief from the people across should in order to get the initial buy-in. I mean, we need to get the initial buy-in in order to develop the product and every other thing. So yeah, I mean, steadily, slowly, we developed the product, done everything. Few deployments happened, but again, it's very slow as a process because it's a B2G as a setup primarily. And post that, while I was not leaving that, I was transitioning out of that company. It's already running right now, doing decent. Uh, I'm still a board member there. I frequently review all the things. Yeah, and I mean, but it was a slow pace learning. Slow. It was a fast paced learning, but the pace of business development was slow. And at the same time, you also need to choose your partners very well, like the founding team. So the founding team needs to share the same mindset. I mean, if you are cruising at 200 kilometers per hour speed, then your co-founder should also be looking at somewhere in the ballparks of 180 at least. If that's not happening, then fundamentally there would be differences within the team. Once those differences crop in, the whole ideology uh, just vanishes. The whole idea of starting up together vanishes altogether. And that's, I mean, so while you choose, I mean, in the future, while you choose your founders, co-founders, you need to understand the mindset. Are they thinking at the same space? Are they do they have still hunger to grow or not? Or are they complacent? Startups, you can build 5 crores of business with a mediocre attitude or 10 crores of business with a mediocre attitude easily. But in order to go beyond $1 billion, think beyond $1 billion and think above than you that 20% of $1 billion is still $200 million. 100% of a 10 crore company is still $1.5 million. The fundamental shift needs to be there. So that was my key takeaway from that company. Although I fully cherish them, still love them. But again, I mean, the people need to understand. And while your viewers would be another set of people who would be venturing out into startups soon, or maybe already doing that, I believe having a great team, it's uh, it's something you need. You're lucky if you have a great team, because I believe. Uh, I mean, startup ideas are just ideas until and unless they get implemented. I mean, that's the harsh truth. Idea means shit. Implementation is everything. You can create maybe great implementation team if you only have a great team. You can create a great product if you have a great team. But just because if you have a great product in your mind and you can create that and deliver that to 100 billion people, no, sir, it's not going to happen. So that was my journey there. And yeah, while I was transitioning out, met a lot of people. I was interviewing a lot of people, got interviewed with a lot of founders, uh, understood what are they needing. So while I was transitioning out, I already had two, three offers from everybody, uh, paying decently, good enough. But Ace Green Recycling was very different in the business outlook, in the founder's outlook, in how the founder thinks, how the industry is, what is the new industry coming in, and for some or the other reason, I was feeling that okay, I need to be in the energy transition space, the energy, the green energy outlook space, because that's going to be a massive, massive opportunity for everybody, right? So that was the idea. Sorry, long answer.
No worry, I think you answered multiple of my future questions, but I'll again take few steps back and just
Yeah.
try to dissect your answers a bit. So, when this transition happened from uh, SLB to Citygen, was funding ever an issue, or did you think, okay, I'll receive grants, or was the payout of Schlumberger good enough for that?
Oh yes, yes. I mean, the payout from Schlumberger was good enough. I had decent enough savings, and I invested them, and yeah, and that's where we started. Post that, we received grants, a lot of grants, 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs grants each. We deployed it in teams. We actually onboarded a lot of people as well, who were working with us for free because they loved the idea. They understood what we are building. They were great people, great coders. So few of them are in US right now. Few of them are with Fox Studios, just doing great. Hardware, same for hardware as well. And the team was from the ISIN community itself. It took me around 2, 3, 4 odd months in order to figure out the right set of people. So yeah, no,
So,
funding was an issue, but finding the right team was also an issue. Once you find the right team, but you cannot pay them, then you need to adjust according to their timings. They also have their work-life pressure there. So a lot of things, a lot of things. Yeah.
so Kapil, it's very interesting that you chose to go into the green energy space. So I had done an internship on bio oils. I did a bunch of research in green energy. And the reason I lost interest in it was because It just kind of felt like a story where we say, okay, this is what it's going to happen 25 years down the line. There is no data point to prove that it can actually happen. And this is like how well you tell a story rather than seeing something that's coming along or seeing an example. So what are your thoughts on
हम्म
this?
ठीक है. So since you have joined financing, let me help you understand through that. Where do you bet your money?
Where I see more profitable?
Say disproportionate profits, where anybody bets money. Lower risk, higher returns. Lower risk is identified by what? What all things? Say suppose a green energy company is there. Say a solar company is there. Green energy or specific कर लेते हैं solar. Now today, if I know that given $1 billion to this company, suppose Renew Power, yeah, they have their own green energy parks and everything. India is growing at good CAGR, and India is the growing demand of electricity, energy deficit nation है आपका. So what kind of models do you think would work always? अगर आप existing से सस्ती बिजली बना सकते हो, तो आपका मॉडल चलेगा हमेशा, है ना? और आज नहीं, हमेशा के लिए चलेगा, क्योंकि वो तो टेक्नोलॉजी है. टेक्नोलॉजी इवॉल्व होती जाएगी, कॉस्ट कम होती जाएगी. अब इस घोड़े पे बैट करना ज्यादा आसान है. क्यों? क्योंकि मुझे पता है, मुझे ये होराइजन पता है कि 25 साल बाद यार ये 1.5 बिलियन लोग नहीं, 2.5 बिलियन लोग हो जाएंगे. ये 2.5 बिलियन लोग या 2 बिलियन लोग हो जाएंगे, इसका मैं क्या करूंगा? इनका कंजम्पशन तो बहुत बढ़ ही चुका होगा, है ना? सबकी रिक्वायरमेंट्स, एनर्जी की रिक्वायरमेंट्स डेली बढ़ रही है, बिकॉज क्लाइमेट चेंज इज फॉर रियल. तो एसीज आपको चाहिए दुनिया में, आपको लग्जरी चीजें चाहिए, बड़े बड़े पार्क्स चाहिए, बहुत चीजें चाहिए जो एनर्जी गजलिंग है. तो एनर्जी गजलिंग बिजनेसेस चलाने के लिए एनर्जी डेफिसिट नेशन में क्या करोगे? एनर्जी या तो खरीदोगे कहीं से ज्यादा दाम पे, या फिर ऐसा टेक बनाओगे जो एनर्जी, आपकी जो कॉस्ट है एनर्जी का, उसको कम कर दे. मेक सेंस?
Yeah.
है ना? अगर 10 रुपए का आज तेरा डिस्कॉम का पैसा लगेगा, 10 रुपए पर यूनिट, और तुझे कहीं से पता लगे कि अगले 25 साल के लिए तेरी 7 रुपए पर यूनिट लगने वाली है, फेयर ना? तो तू खुश है ना? तेरे 3 रुपए बच भी गए, और तुझे रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी भी मिल गई, ग्रीन एनर्जी भी मिल गई. तो अब आपको चूज करना है, आपको कहाँ बेट करना है. आप बेट करोगे फ्यूचर्स की चीजों पे, आप ट्रेड करोगे फ्यूचर्स की चीजों पे कि यार ओके, एयर पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, एयर पोल्यूशन को रोकने के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं? क्या मैं, अगर कोई ऐसा क्या ऐसा कोई पेड़ बना दूं जो कि प्योरीफाई कर दे मेरे आसपास की पूरी एयर को, तो कितना ही अच्छा हो जाएगा, मेरा पूरा का पूरा हेल्थ कितना बेटर हो जाएगा, है ना? सेकंड, थर्डली, वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट. अगर आपके क्रिटिकल मटेरियल्स इंडिया में नहीं है, आपके पास आज लिथियम निकल कोबाल्ट इंडिया में नहीं है, ठीक है? अब जब ये नहीं है, तो क्या करोगे? आप रिसाइकलिंग एज अ बिजनेस करोगे. रिसाइकलिंग एज अ बिजनेस अगर करोगे, तभी जाके आपका जो मटेरियल बाहर था, सपोज चाइना से आपने बैटरीज मंगाई, वो यहाँ पर आई, उनको आपने रिसाइकल करा, और फिर वो मटेरियल कभी आपने बाहर नहीं भेजा, तो इससे क्या फर्क पड़ा? आपने माइनिंग ही नहीं करी. माइनिंग के बिना आपने मटेरियल्स की अर्बन माइनिंग कर दी. तो ये सारे बिजनेसेस, लॉन्गर टर्म व्यू देखो, अगर 30 साल, 35 साल, 40 साल, नोबडी नोज क्या होने वाला है. यार एवरीबडी इन दिस वर्ल्ड थिंक्स अबाउट कि यार अपने अपने एंटिसिपेशन, एंटिसिपेशन की गेम है ना.
Mhm.
जब 1960s में प्लास्टिक डेवलप हुआ था, तब किसी ने ये सोचा थोड़ी था कि इतना वाइडली यूज होगा और फिर आगे जाके बंद हो जाएगा, है ना? ग्रेटेस्ट इनोवेशन. सो इनोवेशन होता रहेगा. यू नीड टू बी अ विजनरी के यार ओके, मेरी ये प्रॉब्लम्स है आज, 25 साल वाली बात की प्रॉब्लम्स क्या एंटिसिपेट कर पा रहा हूं मैं, उसके हिसाब से क्या सॉल्यूशंस मैं आज बनाऊं जिससे कि आप डिस्प्रोपोर्शनेट अमाउंट बनाओ। नहीं तो आपके सारे बिजनेसेस कमोडिटाइज हो जाएंगे ना यार। चलो छोटे छोटे बिजनेस लेते हैं। दाल का बिजनेस तो सालों से चल रहा है इंडिया में, एग्रीकल्चर, कमोडिटाइज्ड बिजनेस बहुत ही ज्यादा।
जी
15-20 रुपए 30 रुपए, 15-20-30 रुपए के मार्जिन पर किलो बेसिस पे, 40 रुपए के, ठीक है। 15-20%, 25% के मार्जिन मैक्स। यहाँ पर आप डेली काम करोगे, डेली काम करोगे, आप कॉन्स्टेंटली अपना पैसा बनाओगे, घुमाओगे, वापस आओगे। ये सारे बिजनेसेस में क्या होगा, ये फ्यूचर बिजनेसेस है, चल गए तो क्या होगा कि यू आर मेकिंग 400% मार्जिन, 500% मार्जिन, 1000% मार्जिन। डिस्प्रोपोर्शनेट वेल्थ तो वहां बनेगी ना। तो इसलिए ग्रीन एनर्जी बिजनेसेस को समझने के लिए हमेशा आई फील देर आर 2-3 थिंग्स, फ्रेमवर्क्स विच आई यूज। ए, नीड, क्या मैं उसको अपनी नॉर्मल जिंदगी में यूज कर पा रहा हूं, कर सकता हूं, या फिर वो मेरी नॉर्मल जिंदगी में कैसे इम्पैक्ट मार सकती है। अगर वो हो रहा है, फेयर एनफ, गुड प्रोडक्ट। सेकेंडली, इज दिस द टीम, अगर मुझे कहीं ज्वाइन करना है, इज दिस द टीम हु इज केपेबल इनफ टू डू दिस। हाउ विल आई जज इट? हाउ डिड आई जज एज ग्रीन? I talked to the, I had a chat with their ex-colleagues. I had a chat with the founders, batchmates from ISM. I had a chat with his investors before coming on board, and then understand that okay, if he is not able to build it, then nobody else is fit enough to build this. Hence, I jump on that ship. Thirdly, financing. These green energy businesses are not typical SaaS businesses. It's an infrastructure game at the very core. Infrastructure needs money, debt financing, project level financings, special purpose vehicle financings, asset level financings. Is this team, or do we have the right networks that we can get those kind of financings accessible to us? Because आप जितनी भी ये प्लांट्स लगाओगे, जितनी भी एनर्जी से रिलेटेड चीजें करोगे ना, सॉफ्टवेयर पे कुछ नहीं होता है इनमें। ये सब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, इंफ्रा में टेक्नोलॉजी। सो इट्स आर एंड डी गेम एज वेल। सो आप चौथी चीज जो चेक करोगे, इनकी आर एंड डी टीम कितनी स्ट्रांग है, क्या क्रेडेंशियल्स है उन लोगों के। जैसे मैंने बोला, आइडिया इज नेवर इनफ। सो
that's
इवन आई हैव थॉट अबाउट इट कि भाई, इफ आई स्टार्ट सम टाइम इन फ्यूचर अगेन, then what are the kind of things I need to develop so that the people who will be vetting me before coming to on my team should take a decision. I mean, my skill set, my network should help them take a decision that this is the right team before I jump on my next venture. Because else तो यार, अपन घोड़ों की रेस में गधे थोड़ी दौड़ेंगे यार, है ना, मतलब वो बात है।
so
So that's how it is. I mean, yeah.
I think what you said is very insightful. Thinking of it, like ऐसा कुछ नहीं था जो तुमने बोला मुझे पता नहीं था, but the way you explained it, it kind of cleared a lot of blockages in my mind. I think this is a quality that comes with being a founder, or how do you have that much clarity on this?
I don't know how do I have. I don't know if I have clarity or not. But what I understand is that with time, you talk to people. Today I'm talking to you, and today after knowing, okay, that the kind of things you have achieved in the past 5 years, it's nothing near to what I have done. Trust me. So conversations like these makes me humble. These things makes me humble, and then I try to strive for more and understand that, okay, what am I doing? How should I do it correctly? What is the key, what is the key performing index for it? And maybe what should be the outcome? So before you jump on anything, you should have clear expectations, clear outcomes. But at the same time, I mean, there should also be passion, enough passion that like you have passion for chess.
Yes, I do.
Yes, because you have a passion for chess, that's why you are able to build a business out of it. Because you just love teaching chess. I love trading, sales, networking, meeting new people around. Maybe that's boring for few people, but I love it. And understand what people are thinking, what people are doing. What is the next big thing for them? So that's pretty much, I mean, meeting people across the board will give you a lot of clarity. Eventually, sales will give you clarity. I might not have clarity for chess, same way you might not have clarity for green energy businesses. It's it's same, right? Because I have not entered your territory, you have not entered my territory. The day you enter my territory, you have the same passion, you have the same understanding, you try to learn more and more and more, and have, I don't know, passion for that. You will learn, and eventually we are smart enough people to understand the economics of everything.
I
So
have
clarity will automatically flow in.
So, Kapil, in the recent time, I've also been watching a lot of Shark Tank India. So, वहाँ पे एक
Yeah.
था impact energy, and I tried reading on that. What is impact first business? And I had this perception that it's green energy, but it seems it's very different from that. Can you talk a bit more on what's the difference between the two?
Impact, there are two, three major things. How do you define impact? Quantify impact. You quantify impact with, okay, are you able to give people more jobs? Uh, Elevate people from poverty? How are you creating a environmental impact? So there is a triple bottom line. I mean, after your EBITDA margins, I mean, you are there, right? So ट्रिपल बॉटम लाइन्स होती हैं आपके बिजनेसेस में. तो वो वही होता है कि भाई, मतलब पा- आपके ऑपरेटिंग मार्जिन से बिट्टा विबिट्टा के बाद आप ट्रिपल बॉटम लाइन पे आते हो, जहाँ पर आप क्या इम्पैक्ट कर रहे हो फाइनली सोसाइटी पे. मतलब उसका आप अपने फाइनेंशियल मॉडल में ऑलरेडी केटर करते हो. बट इम्पैक्ट फर्स्ट बिजनेसेस आर मेजरली जहाँ पर प्रॉफिट सबसे लास्ट में है. फर्स्ट इज पीपल. People and environment will go hand in hand. How are you impacting the environment? Suppose in my business, if mining would happen in Congo, कोबाल्ट की माइनिंग होगी, तो 1 टन कोबाल्ट निकालने में अराउंड 20,000 टन कार्बन इमिशन होगा. अगर मैंने रिसाइकलिंग के बिजनेसेस के थ्रू 1 टन कोबाल्ट निकालने के लिए सिर्फ और सिर्फ 2,000 किलो, राइट, 2,000 किलो का सिर्फ एमिशन किया, या 2 किलो का सिर्फ एमिशन किया, जो पहले 2,000, जो पहले 2 लाख 2 लाख किलो था, या 2 लाख टन था, यहाँ पर 2,000 टन है, वॉट एवर द स्केल इज, कार्बन का एमिशन. अगर आप उसको कम कर पा रहे हो, then you are already positively impacting the system.
That
So that's one. Secondly, how are you formalizing the informal sectors? That's again a part of impact first businesses. Suppose a lot of your agri-tech startups have been doing this now. I mean, they have their, I mean, they give a lot of people ownership across lands. For example, they take their lands, contractual farming basis, they give them rozgar proper, even if उनका प्रॉपरली काम हो भी नहीं रहा है, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, फिर भी वो करते हैं उनको, फिर भी वो पैसा देते हैं, बिकॉज somehow or the other through technology they are trying to actually elevate their lifestyle. Say for example, what is Dehat doing? So, a fine example of Dehat is run by another ISM senior from 2009 2010 batch, Adarsh. What he does, so he has done technology intervention across the value chain of uh, agri एग्रीकल्चर. सो एक लैंड जब शुरू होता है तो अपने किसान को क्या चाहिए? खाद चाहिए, उसको फर्टिलाइजर्स चाहिए, सब कुछ बेटर चाहिए, बट किसान को तो नहीं पता है. तो हाउ आर यू हेल्पिंग किसान? किसान को आपने ऐसे हेल्प किया कि ओके, मैं आपको सर्विसेज देता हूँ, ठीक है, मैं आपको ये बताता हूँ कि कब बाढ़ आने वाली है, कब सूखा पड़ने वाला है, उस हिसाब से आप अपना पूरा सिंचाई करो अपने पूरे के पूरे लैंड की. तो ये सब आपने जब उसको बोला, तो पहले जो उसका नुकसान हो रहा था, सपोज वो लास्ट 3-4 साल से 15-20 लाख के नुकसान में जा रहा था, इस साल आपने उसको 15-20 लाख का प्रॉफिट करा दिया, और वी हैव एलिवेटेड ऑलरेडी हिम फ्रॉम पॉवर्टी विद टेक्नोलॉजी इंटरवेंशन. एट द सेम टाइम अंडरस्टैंड नाउ, अब वो पैसे कमा रहा है तो उसकी पूरी की पूरी फैमिली जो पीछे है, दे आर ऑल्सो एजुकेटेड, दे गोइंग टू स्कूल्स, वी हैव एलिवेटेड देम एज वेल. So that's how impact first businesses are. You need to focus on environment, you need to focus on people. This is what I understand, plain and simple.
And बीच में you worked for as a consultant for World Bank. What was that
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah. So World Bank, while I was working for Citizen, I was the founder there. So I mean, so since we were developing waste man, and we had a very strong experience in consulting all the municipal corporations. Since I mean, while we are consulting municipal corporations, through our consulting, all the municipal corporations in Jharkhand actually were top 5 in Jharkhand and nationally in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So, because of our experience there, they wanted to indulge us in a waste management project which World Bank was facilitating, which was Gujarat Resilient Cities program. So, wherein they wanted to understand how can they help or increase the standard of living, or help erase all the problems of the lower strata across the municipal corporation. So municipal corporation have uh, basically the CEO of municipal corporation. Then there are various sub collectors there, waste pickers there, male and females. You will be surprised that in the waste picking businesses and in the lower strata, what we finally found out is women do not join the workforce at times because they do not have, because the facilities do not have a creche as a facility for their kids.
What?
They do not, they do not come for work because of that. Second, they do not come for work if they get widowed, because they are extremely I mean worried that if they are a widow, then somebody or else will take their advantage and their entire family reputation will go down the drain. This is, I'm talking at the lowest strata in this waste management businesses. Third, uh, unmarried girls do not work. Again, the same fear, because there is a trust deficit in that society. Fourth, at times the women are not working because their men is also not working, and he has a problem that his wife is earning because of the male chauvinistic attitude.
That's a sorry state, I would say.
Yeah, that was a sorry state. But again, World Bank actually uh, came to us to understand these problems very minutely, very deeply. So we were like, we had recordings of more than 1,000, 1,500 hours of meeting people across. I mean, we did interviews of 100, 150, 200 people
Mhm.
for 2 hours, 3 hours, group discussions. Yeah, I mean, understanding their problems. And finally, they were not open about it. After a lot of discussions, they finally opened up. And then we gave them our recommendations that, okay, these are the things you need to do in order to initialize these things. And that's where everything got there. Actually, now because of us, there exists a single window for female contractors that they can just go submit their bid. It's a single window. They do not need to do anything. There is, for the lowest strata, there is this thing called as Mela, wherein they constantly get skilled up, so that they go up the chain. So that's what we did with World Bank. Basically, we were free for 15, 20, 25 odd days. We looked at this opportunity. The payout was good. We understood the deep problems, and hence we thought that we are the best bet here. We are the best people who can actually get it done on ground. So we spent 15, 20 odd days in Ahmedabad.
Like these kinds of examples where you actually see the impact, I think that would be heartwarming for you, especially because you were the one who was
Oh
doing the
yes,
groundwork.
true, 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 true. Yeah.
And
So that's why, I mean, yeah, it's very, I mean, it's great while when you see all of these things happening. Yeah, good.
coming to Citygen, can you talk about some impact that Citygen created, or is it like impact will still come?
250,000 households started segregating in Jamshedpur. 250,000 houses started segregating their waste in Jamshedpur for 1 year straight, and it's still happening.
And how, what is Citizen's role in that? Can you just
Through their
explain a
hardware,
bit?
through the hard. Okay. So Citygen is basically a hardware integrated SaaS
Right.
company wherein we are digitizing the entire solid waste supply chain,
Mhm.
solid waste basically your door-to-door waste collection supply chain, wherein what are we doing is two to three things that we um, track and trace that your daily waste is collected or not, you're segregating your waste or not. Basis you're segregating or not, you are getting incentivized in the form of carbon credits, carbon, which you can definitely utilize for municipal corporation payments. Uh, and then definitely you can also earn basis that incentivized in the form of earning. So that was the major idea. So through that, I mean, a lot of things happened since every building had a unique building identity code. So everything was mapped within the city, which has never ever happened in India because city mapping has never. So that's why, I mean, the next idea was, okay, since you have mapped a city, what next? Next is you can build a map for yourself for the city. You can do a lot of analysis basis that. You can help in urban planning. You can help across infrastructural planning for the cities.
Yeah, like you are a good person, Kapil. When I think about कि मेरे पास इतना data है, I would think, okay, how can I sell this data?
No, no. So essentially, yes. I mean, you sell data, but the idea is you sell data for the right use case.
If I have to explain what Citizen does in my words, um, कोई आता है मेरे घर, I have a software हार्डवेयर जो मेरे वेस्ट सेग्रीगेट कर लेगा, and that is being
तेरे पास नहीं है, तेरे पास नहीं है, वेस्ट पिकर के
बीएमसी के
पास ही
पास,
है।
जो म्युनिसिपैलिटी के पास,
हाँ
and
हाँ,
that is
उसी के
being
पास है सब।
segregated for recycling, reusing, and
हाँ
global
हाँ हाँ,
dumping. but
राइट, एंड उससे भी आप पैसा कमाते हो अच्छे से। एंड आपके जो डंप यार्ड्स हैं, जो 66 मिलियन टन्स का आपका डंपिंग ग्राउंड है, वो फिर हो गई।
but like
इंडिया जनरेट 66 मिलियन टन्स ऑफ वेस्ट एवरी ईयर।
but don't you think like ये जो है that is only feasible for tier 2 and tier 3 cities? क्योंकि जब मैं अपने सोसाइटी का देखता हूँ, यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी द सोसाइटी टेक्स केयर ऑफ सेग्रीगेशन एंड देन सेंडिंग इट टू द म्युनिसिपैलिटी, so धीरे धीरे wouldn't this business then go down to zero as the Indian standard of living increases?
नो, नो।
And like what are your
The
background
idea
on
is
that?
never, no, 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 no. So the idea is never to sustain on this business. The idea is to create a culture wherein people start segregating and they learn to they learn that okay, if they do that, then they get incentivized. People understand right now. Most of the Indian people, um, if you forget Delhi, Bombay, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Ahmedabad, Indore, none of the other people are doing this.
Mhm.
In your hometown in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, how many how many houses have you seen doing this?
Okay, I'll be honest. I haven't seen a lot of houses doing it, but I have started seeing societies where this has started as a mandatory practice.
Right, right. RWAs they call, Resident Welfare Associations. They have started doing it. Again, these RW, I want to create a culture so that everybody does it. The end goal is so okay. Let's give you an example. How did UPI? Okay, yeah. How did UPI became a success?
I think ease of paying.
Okay. Secondly, how did adoption happen? What how did adoption actually began in India for UPI? And when did that hockey stick curve came?
I think if अगर मैं बोलना हो, that would be people sending each other referrals क्योंकि पैसे मिल रहे थे, the positive reinforcements, plus I think COVID played a major role in that.
Demonetization played a major role in that UPI,
Mhm.
right? Plus COVID accelerated that growth. ठीक है, आ जाते हैं अब अपने पे। सो जब आप वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट में हर जगह पे एक आदत डलवा देते हो सारे लोगों को कि भाई आपको ना अलग अलग ही करना है वेस्ट को, तो ओवरऑल जो आपकी मटेरियल की स्कैरसिटीज है इंडिया में, ठीक है, आज आपको पेपर, आज आपको प्लास्टिक बॉटल से धागा बनता है, पता है आपको, टेक्सटाइल,
Right. I think I saw
जो
them on
बॉटल्स,
Shark Tank also.
वो तो बैन इन नेशन है, वो तो ठीक है, बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट लॉट ऑफ माय क्लोज बाय पीपल हैव आल्सो स्टार्टेड डूइंग दैट। सो पेट बॉटल से धागा बनता है, पेट बॉटल्स आर नॉट सेग्रीगेटेड इनफ, नाउ people are in such scarcity that they need to import pet bottles. Okay, one example. Second, पेपर, इंडिया में ट्रीज को काट के पेपर बनता है ना,
Mhm.
ट्रीज से पेपर बनते हैं।
Right.
पेपर का स्क्रैप आता है बाहर से, स्वीडन से, यूरोपियन नेशन। इंडिया में नहीं है ये सब, इंडिया में सब कुछ है। द होल प्रॉब्लम इज सेग्रीगेशन अराउंड। if you incentivize segregation and penalize segregation, then what will happen is eventually your forward supply chain becomes a lot more easier. So if you look at 20 years down, maybe your import पे आपको ज्यादा rely ही नहीं करना पड़े। As a nation, you are going towards material scarcity, उस material deficit बोल लो आप, raw material deficit, because your consumption is growing. सो अगर उस मटेरियल डेफिसिट को कम करना है, रॉ मटेरियल डेफिसिट को कम करना है, एनर्जी कंजम्पशन क्योंकि बढ़ ही रहा है आपका, या मटेरियल कंजम्पशन तो बढ़ ही रहा है आपका, उसको कम करने का एक ही तरीका है, व्हेन दैट यू स्टार्ट सेग्रीगेटिंग सो दैट योर फॉरवर्ड सप्लाई चेन्स, जैसे ही आप सेग्रीगेट करोगे प्लास्टिक, पेपर, ग्लास, सब चीजों में, बैटरी से लेकर सारी चीजें, हर कोई अपने अपने रिसाइकलिंग तक पहुंचेगी, योर लैंडफिल्स विल नॉट हैपन, आपका इन्वायरमेंटल इम्पैक्ट बहुत कम हो जाएगा, and you'll be significantly impacting the climate change impacts as well. Now, अब इसके लिए बिजनेस कैसे बनाना है, इसमें इट्स वेरी सिंपल यार। आप पूरी की पूरी सप्लाई चेन को इंसेंटिवाइज कर दोगे ना जब, और मटेरियल की कॉस्ट कम कर दोगे सबकी, तो अपने आप यू विल स्टार्ट अर्निंग मनी। You need to be that full stack solution wherein you help people with technology, you help people with sourcing of raw materials, and at every point you have 2% margins, 3% margins, 4% margins, 5% margins. And guess what? You're not deploying any working capital here. So that's pure margins. So that's how you build a business here. You go full stack, you take one key pain point, implement your tech stack, उस टेक स्टैक की वजह से आपको क्या पता लग रहा है, डेटा पता लग रहा है कि यार भारत, सोच जमशेदपुर में हो गया, मैंने एक आरडब्ल्यूए के साथ टाई अप कर दिया, आरडब्ल्यूए को ये बताने के लिए, अच्छा आपके यहाँ से क्या कितना कलेक्ट हो रहा है, वो भी मैंने कर दिया, ठीक है, उनको भी ट्रैक एंड ट्रेस कर दिया, सबका डेटा एक्यूमुलेट करके मेरे पास आया कि आज पूरे भारत में इतना इतना आज ग्लास निकला, इतना आज पेपर निकला, इतना आज पेट बॉटल निकला, इतना एम एल वो आपका रैपर्स निकले, ठीक है। अब मुझे पता है, अच्छा ये इतने लाख टन का मटेरियल आज निकला है, मैं इसको दे सकता हूँ यहाँ पर, मैं इसको यहाँ दे सकता हूँ, यहाँ दे सकता हूँ, यहाँ दे सकता हूँ। सबकी जितनी भी रिसाइकलर्स होंगे, सबकी सोर्सिंग टीम को मेरी जरूरत होगी, और जितने भी प्रोड्यूसर्स होंगे उनको ये पता होगा, ओके ही हैज द कंप्लीट डेटा एंड ही कैन हेल्प अस, ओके ठीक है यार, चलो ना ये मेरे लिए काम कर देगा, मुझे मेरे कंप्लायंसेस पूरे करने के लिए, एक्सटेंडेड प्रोड्यूसर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी का कंप्लायंस होता है, उसको पूरा करने के लिए। तो यू कैन बिल्ड अ बिजनेस अराउंड इट ऑल टुगेदर जस्ट बाय द डेटा यू हैव। सेकेंडली, मोर थिंग्स, मैपिंग, मैपिंग से लेकर, तो people thought that it was an idea just digitizing the waste supply chain, but with waste, there is a lot more behind it. When you look at the tech stack, when you look at the data, you have a lot of things behind. So that was the major idea. Imagine, बाद में आप अपना मैप्स का टेक स्टैक हाइपर लोकल डिलीवरी के लिए दे सकते हो लोगों को, गूगल मैप्स की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी लोगों को फिर।
So, looking at your vision and by the virtue of the population of India, will it be like in the next 5, 10, or maybe more, 10 plus years, India would actually
I
be
don't
an
know.
exporter of
Yeah, yeah,
recyclable products?
true. I mean, for me, I think India is not the market right now. Market is Asia. Because in India, it will take another 5, 10 odd years to 5 years to get people on the same mindset. आज की डेट में पार्था only 3-4% are people like us. In the next 5-6 years, uh, because it's gold rush for India right now. In the next 5, 6, 7 years, you'll see a lot of millionaires, $1 million people, $2 million, $10 million people in India. And that's where you see majority chunk, 10, 15, 20% will think like us. And those 20% would actually take out another 30% out of poverty. And then a 50% people will actually look at these things very, very, I mean, closely. On the other hand, Asians, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, these people are already aware about these things. So if you go to Malaysia, if you go to Thailand, these places are super clean. Because and they still have a need for this. because they understand that, okay, if they do not deploy technologies, then they are doomed.
I always thought segregation is for like हाँ ठीक है fine ना लगे society से, but hearing about the things you just said, it feels like I'm making an impact to such a bigger cycle of things in life.
It's actually a very big cycle. So वही है ना, मतलब देखो यार, अगर पार्था को अकेला लगेगा मैं अकेले से क्या करूंगा तो कुछ भी नहीं होगा, बट पार्था को मैं इंसेंटिवाइज कर देता हूँ जैसे गूगल पे ने मुझे किया, तो पार्था बोलेगा चलो यार, मेरे 50 रुपए लगते थे, 100 रुपए लगते थे सोसाइटी के लिए, या 100 रुपए मेरे डोर टू डोर वेस्ट कलेक्शन के लिए लगते थे, चलो 100 रुपए नहीं लगेंगे, मैं रोज सेग्रीगेट कर दूंगा, बहुत बढ़िया, और फाइन भी नहीं लगेगा।
हाँ पैसे
अब
देंगे,
उसकी
पैसे
वजह से,
मिलेंगे भी।
अब उस एग्जैक्टली exactly, अब उसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है, फॉरवर्ड सप्लाई चेन बहुत अच्छी हो गई, तो एवरीबडी, जो देखो, बाकी लोग क्या करते हैं, रैक पिकर्स को पैसा देते थे कि वो बड़े बड़े डंप यार्ड से, मतलब बीन बीन के सामान लेके आए, अब वो पैसा ही नहीं देना पड़ेगा किसी को, तो पूरा पैसा इधर आ जाएगा।
I have this personal question. Let's say I have to venture into green energy. Uh, what would be typically like a savings that I should be having, and how often do founders actually pay themselves? Or they how at what stage can founders start withdrawing a salary, because it is actually a long game.
Yeah, I mean, green energy businesses is a very long game, 20-25 odd years game. यार एनर्जी businesses में I feel that if you have a solid backing, see, I mean, honestly, you need to understand one very important thing. Partha, if today I give you 5 crore rupees, 10 crore rupees, $1.5 million, then today you will be secure enough that you can take any kind of bets, right?
Mhm.
And this is the very problem. अगर आपके पास इतना पैसा है, या your family has enough backing कि भाई, um, that you can sustain yourself for 3, 4, 5 years without 3, 4 years without drawing any salary, because it's a long game. I mean, you just, because it's a technology game, R&D game. टेक एक दिन में नहीं बनता, रिसर्च एक दिन में नहीं होती, 3-4 साल लगते हैं चीजों में बनने में। तब तक आपको सस्टेन करने के लिए क्या आपके पास पैसा है, सो दैट योर फैमिली इज इन कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड, राइट, योर लाइफस्टाइल इज नॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड, and you do not have any kind of mental, I mean, mentally you are safe and sound, because when the money pressure is on you, your family pressure is on you, it's not a good state to be in.
Yep, I agree.
And that's why I feel that, I mean, younger, I feel that startups, it's very good that, okay, the younger generation is there, but I really feel that, I mean, younger people should at least work in a startup first before starting up something of their own. Because starting directly something of your own, it's one in a million possibility. You need to be a Zepto who had a rich dad, basically. Zepto founders had a very rich dad, extremely rich. They were worth around 1,000 odd crores, maybe more. So they had the backing, as I told. If you have the backing, then you have the right networks as well. Once you have the right networks, right backing, you play it. But if you do not have the backing and you are not willing to compromise on your lifestyles and every other thing, then it will become a burden. Hence, for your questions, founders should be the last ones to take the salary, always. And honestly, in this energy businesses, you just never know कि आपकी जेब से कितना पैसा जा रहा है, because रोज आपको लोगों से मिलना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज इसमें प्रोजेक्ट से लेकर डेट से लेकर इक्विटी से लेकर सब कुछ ही लेके आना है आपको। फाइनेंसिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, रिसर्च करनी है, डेवलपमेंट चलना है, टेक्नोलॉजी चलनी है, सब कुछ तो चलना है, फाइनेंस चलना है, सबके लिए पैसा तो चाहिए भाई।
Right.
ये है। तो इस वजह से यू कैन नॉट टेक मनी शुरू के 2-3 साल जब तक आप रेवेन्यू जनरेट नहीं कर रहे हो एंड यू हैव अ सॉलिड प्लान
Yeah.
और यू हैव इनफ मनी,
Now,
इनफ वेंचर कैपिटल मनी।
yeah, ये सब सुन के it feels like this green energy game is more like a elitism game, but
नो,
shouldn't government be funding like this?
यार नेवर डिपेंड अपॉन गवर्नमेंट यार। गवर्नमेंट इज हाउ डू आई से, government is a body which should be like a TT, a ticket collector. Actually, they should just check if the people have ticket or not. So the government should be more like a regulator who should check that people are doing their jobs correctly or not, compliant in a compliant way or not. They are not the people who are running this. Secondly, government funding. Government funding is a very, very tricky thing. It's a lot of political things. Government things will might take you 6 to 8 months, 10 months, and till then you might get shut down. So you cannot depend upon government's money. It's good if it comes in. So I mean, government is doing their own bit, but they have their own challenges here. They have their own challenges. There is a lot of bureaucracy there. Although it's improving, but yes, I mean, it will always be there. It's across the globe like that. So you need to have private money. It's not an elitism game, but yes, it's a long haul game. So with the long haul, I mean, do you have enough capable? I'm not saying that people with zero money cannot build it. It will be hard, and they need to have the right mindset and right networks, which comes with money, power networks. True, true.
I think we'll wrap
I'm just being
for
honest. Just being honest.
yeah. I think Kapil will wrap up for now. I think we have already made like a big video or a not big, long video. But
Hmm.
yeah, thanks for your time and thanks for joining in.